Downs, I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
You like that? Ross digs our intro music.
I like the music.
Yo,
What up?
hello everybody. It is Billy and Willie's Workshop, episode 3. Willie out of town, and our good friend Ross Peterson is in his place.
I'm Willie today.
Yes.
Sorry to disappoint. Well, one of my favorite people, man, and I know he is like your favorite person.
Yeah, he's up there.
Man, one of those dudes that I looked up to when I first saw him, and like growing up, he was Des Moines comedian. He was the Des Moines comedian. And if you were lucky enough to do like have like a corporate party, Christmas party where Willie came and did the Christmas party, oh my God, he did this thing one night. So couple things, my two favorite Willie memories. I don't know which one would be my favorite. He did one of our Christmas parties for the radio station back in it was the year I won the big award. So I could check. It was like 2004.
Yeah. What'd you win?
Employee of the Year.
Are you kidding?
Swear to God, I was named MVP of Clear Channel.
And 20 years later, it's like it never fucking happened.
Sorry,
it's like it never fucking happened.
We just started going. We're supposed to be loud. I'm sorry. 20 years ago, and wow. Willie just went. So somebody had. It was one of those deals where somebody at the office had given him a list,
names of people to
and
talk about,
some things to mention, and he killed the room.
Oh yeah,
it was great. And then my other one, I always think of. It was at Seven Flags Event Center. You might have opened for him then, Bill, because this was when you and Josh were just getting going, and Willie was obviously, if you guys were lucky enough to get on a card with Willie.
Was it the show I did to raise money for the troops?
I feel like it was.
It was me and Josh. I had bands too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Willie was the headliner.
Yeah, it was me, Josh, the round guy, and Willie.
And Willie kept doing that callback during his set where he would go. He's like, man, I love that song.
The fucking R. Kelly.
The freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. And he would like tell a couple jokes, and then he'd go, it's the freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. And man, for 20 years, I heard that every time I heard that song, I saw Willie.
Freaking weekend.
Yeah, fantastic. And then when you get to meet him and know him, and you find out what an incredible person he is, an amazing dad, awesome husband. Jenny's fantastic.
Yeah.
So thanks for inviting me here, man.
Well,
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. It's weird because my first podcast ever was the Blank and Bush show that Ross was our producer. When we started, that was, I believe, 2012.
Dude. Honestly, ahead of its time, and you and I have been lucky enough, Bill, to be around some really creative stuff. And we've always kind of joked about how you and I are both idea guys.
Yeah, and everything just peters out.
Well, because we are creatives.
Yeah.
You and I both are we're creative guys. So we're around a lot of creative people. You're around some of these really fun, cool ideas.
Lots of ideas. Ideas are always flowing. Execution, not so much.
Got to get that momentum, man. Yeah. Got to get that money. What you got to get.
And that's momentum's the key word.
Yeah.
And things start, I mean, that show, the idea behind that show, and, God rest his soul, Jeff Blanchard was the one that came to me about doing it live.
When you said God rest his soul, I was like, I just got a text from John Bush the other day. John died?
I was just talking.
What are you telling me?
He was just here.
He was just here. But you know my Blanchard story. So that, like,
about the DJ.
I wouldn't have gotten in radio. I wouldn't have gotten into radio if it weren't for Jeff Blanchard.
Yeah.
And then he ended up doing Mr. Baber's Neighbors. If people don't know who Blanchard
so
is, like, man,
great.
That's one of those dudes that we were lucky to have in Des Moines.
He was a legend.
A starlight. Yeah.
Dude, he was, and I mean, how, like, you meet some people and like the word cool in the dictionary would have Snoop Dogg's picture next to it. It's like obvious, right?
You met Jeff Blanchard. It took you about 10 seconds to be like, oh,
coolest dude ever. Yeah.
Cool.
Like when it came to Des Moines and musicians and all that stuff, like Jeff Blanchard was that guy. You put his picture next to the definition of cool.
When he died, they had a little candlelight vigil down at Simon Estes.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kind of stood in a circle, and some people went up and told some funny stories, right? And my buddy Bruno, Jeff Bruning, who runs the tap room and El Bait Shop and all those. Jeff has an amazing way with words and timing and all this. And it was absolutely perfect. We'd all kind of cried. We needed something to kind of change the mood. And it was, you felt Jeff's moment. Bruno stepped into the middle and he said, I want to tell everybody my favorite Jeff story. He was my favorite bartender I ever had at El Bait Shop. He was the worst bartender I ever had at El Bait Shop, but he was my favorite one. We had a beer there one time called Hillbilly Holler. And this guy walked in down and Jeff said, what can I do you for? And the guy says, can I get a Hillbilly Holler? And without pause, Jeff goes, sure. Yeah.
So stupid.
and the guy's sitting there, obviously, like, everybody in the bar turns and looks. Jeff had no idea. He was that bad of a bartender. He didn't know that it was an actual beer that they were serving.
I'm surprised he didn't go into the fridge at High Life and get him one of those generic Mountain Dews.
Oh, hee-haw. No.
There's the hill. I'm telling you, hee-haw, yes.
Hillbilly. Is that called Hillbilly Holler?
I am almost certain Hillbilly Holler is one of them. So you have the Hy-Vee one, and then you have like the Walmart one, and one of them is Hillbilly Holler, and one of them is hee-haw.
You have to look those up for me. Is Chris working on it there?
Boom.
So I took.
No, that's Fairway.
Right,
it's Hillbilly Holler.
I took my glasses off.
So even better,
but I can't see them now.
Because
back on. Sorry.
It was the Fasco. It was the Fasco brand that they had in the fridge at High Life. When you got a root down, it was Fasco root beer.
Root down.
Remember? They used to have all those Fasco sodas in there. I don't know if they still do.
All right, now I can see. I was faking it earlier. Sorry, folks. Lied to you.
Yeah.
Wanted to show off the baby blues.
We got a girlfriend now, so you can't have too much sex appeal.
Trust me. It was never going to be too much.
Our 10 people watching the show right now, one of which may be female.
I see. What do you
that was some new branding there, looked like.
Now, again, I don't have the best eyes over here.
Uh-huh.
But it says that you got like 70 people, 70 people watching. So, doing okay.
Oh, does it? Oh, yeah. I don't pay attention to that. I didn't even know that existed up there.
So where did we? Let me ask you.
How about one of those 68 people give us some content?
What are we? Well, you had things you wanted to talk about, right?
I know.
Okay. What are we live on?
Works. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, I believe.
Nice.
Chris, is that correct?
And Twitter
We're
and
live on
Twitch.
YouTube.
What up, Twitter?
Oh no, X. Sorry.
X. Sorry, X. Yep.
So you didn't have anything because I got some stuff I want to. I got some questions.
Hey,
I wanna fire away.
you go ahead. You
All right.
come on my show and
All right.
interview me. That's
Well, I'm not going to interview you. I've just got questions that I've been pondering.
okay.
Is the word owl one syllable or two?
Like I said, we visited this slightly off the air. I do the clap test.
Yeah.
With syllables.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that how you learned it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I can't. You can't. It's owl. Two. It's two.
It's two syllables.
You can't.
Owl.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm not sure. That's why I asked the question.
But you have to have an opinion.
I'm still forming my opinion.
What are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning that it's one syllable, but I say it the way that you say it. Owl.
Mm-hmm.
I say owl. That's a two-syllable word. But I think that the right way to say it is owl.
Wrong. I think I have the answer. I think I just realized the answer.
Uh-oh.
The letter W is two syllables.
Look at you.
3 syllables. W.
I hate to interrupt our live broadcast. That was my son.
Uh-oh.
I'll
Is you burning the house down?
I hope not. Hope not. Okay.
I can't find Audrey.
I'm going to tell him I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. He doesn't have
I think I saw a thing. They made a big deal out of this. Twitter, where Elon Musk apparently asked someone if people are still calling it Twitter, if they call it X. That was the literal head, but that's where we're at now with media. That's the literal headline. Elon Musk asked so-and-so if people still call Twitter or call X Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, I'm seeing this regularly on all my social media timelines or Google, like when you just see those first, headlines on Google. And I've kind of noticed if you don't have to pay to read the article, it's dog shit. Is that, are you experiencing the same thing? Or is it my settings?
I think, well, first of all, I'm not exactly going out of my way to consume a lot of articles. I'm not. I am. If it interests me, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to find out my own stuff. Right.
Yeah. And that's
if I see a headline, these drones that have been flying over New Jersey.
Oh yeah, I
just started. It gets me.
I get everything late too. By the way, that's been a thing for several days, and I just yesterday all of a sudden gave a shit.
Am I in? I would imagine if we were to talk to a lot of people that I'm probably demographically in a very specific place.
Mm-hmm.
Being 46 years old, right now I'm in this routine. I don't want to, because obviously it was never it hasn't always been this way, and it won't always be this way. But this is my current routine. Facebook, Twitter, and that's really about it. Okay. And then I'm scrolling through, and if I see some people talking about it, or I see something that interests me, again, the drones, then I'm going to go Google, and then I'm going to go find whatever articles I can find or news sources I can find. And I'm even cautious of that, knowing that you're going to get a biased opinion from either side. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I think we've talked about this before. But I wake up every morning, there's an NPR podcast called Up First. That's 15 minutes long. I listen to that. They usually cover about 3 or 4 of the top stories that you want to know about in the world. Then there's one called The Daily from the New York Times. It's about 30 minutes, and it's 30 minutes about one topic. So they dive into one of those 3 or 4 things usually. Both very left-leaning. And then I listen to Ben Shapiro when he launches at about 11 or noon or something like that. So I get an hour of really conservative, right-leaning stuff. And again, his is kind of all-encompassing. He's going to do the big dive on that one big topic, but he's also going to touch on those other things and do some lighthearted stuff and whatever. I think it's entertaining. So That's kind of how I consume my news. And then if there's something within those, this story with Syria, then I'm going to dive into that. I'm going to spend some time Googling. And I don't know, do people still do that? Because I heard the other day, YouTube is now the largest search engine on the planet.
Really? Well, because it comes with a video automatically, I guess.
So
yeah.
Am I in
more so than Google?
Am I in a dying breed? Man, I don't talk for a living anymore, and it shows. I could talk like I got a marble.
I think I think those are skewed statistics, probably. Because
what do you mean that YouTube is?
Well, if everything you're ever typing into YouTube is registering as a search, then of course it's bigger because you're always.
That still blows me away.
You know what I mean, though?
I just don't spend that much time on YouTube, I guess.
Well, put it this way: if you Google something, you probably only Google it one time. You Google a topic, right? And then you click on everything that comes up. If you search something on YouTube, you might search that thing 10 times in different ways.
Point. That's a good point.
You know,
and one time, like
you go down a rabbit hole,
dude. And again, I know most people don't consume media like this either.
Mm-hmm.
But when I want to hear a new song, I go to YouTube,
mm-hmm.
and I just type and I just say the person's name and whatever song I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
This new guy, Steven Wilson Jr. Have you heard him?
Mm-mm. I'm so horrible at consuming new anything. Music, movies.
Steven Wilson Jr. I think he's like the next Chris Stapleton type thing.
Is he a country singer?
Country singer, but it's like Sturgill Simpson type country. It's not.
But see, you turned me on to Sturgill Simpson because I told you know how much I hate country music, and I told you I liked Chris Stapleton because to me Chris Stapleton he's got way more of a Southern blues rock sound to
more
me.
soul.
Yeah, than country music.
Yeah, with you. That's the Steven Wilson Jr. dude.
Okay. Because like Sturgill Simpson, I didn't feel that with him. You turned me on to him, and I still felt that was kind of rednecky country. But I read something somewhere where he's gotten really into the Dead, and like he's starting to like jam and shit. Sturgill Simpson.
Yeah.
So he might end up
really deep songs.
He might end up being somebody I want to go see, especially if he's starting to jam like that.
In fact, I'd say all three of those guys because I almost said Jamie Johnson. He fits into the same category, but Chris Stapleton, when he was with that group called the Steel Drivers,
I heard a little bit of that. Yeah.
Songs too. So anyway,
I heard though that. Have you seen him in concert?
Chris Stapleton?
Yeah.
Yes, a couple times.
Okay, so you can tell me
one of the most boring shows you'll ever.
That's what I was just gonna ask. I heard he just plays his song.
I'm not joking, dude. It could not be Chris Stapleton up there, and nobody would know.
Yeah, he's not a performer.
It could be a guy standing there in a long ZZ Top costume, because all you see is a cowboy hat and a beard.
Mm-hmm.
and a figure, yeah. And he stands there and he plays guitar, but he's not shredding like Jimmy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can play guitar and he gets into it, but he's just going to stand there. So, dude, I actually saw last summer in Ames, there was a concert. It was Chris Stapleton and George Strait.
I heard about that.
It's like a sniper's dream, dude. Neither one of these guys moved for 4 hours.
A sniper's dream.
They stood there.
I'm thinking because of the audience, it's a sniper's dream, but you were thinking a completely different.
Yeah, they were sitting there.
It's just another example of why these fucking terrorists are smarter than we give them credit for. They know damn well if they bombed the fair, if they bombed a fucking Stapleton, George Strait, they know damn well the collective IQ of the entire state would increase by 50% as soon as they offed all those people. So they don't do it. That's why you never see a NASCAR race. There's 100,000 people there. Why have they never attacked a NASCAR race? Because they know it's a bunch of dumb fucks.
Bill hadn't thought about it like that.
They know.
Even after our financial institutions, they tried to take out our best.
That was one of my.
I like that. Come to the fair.
Yeah, I actually said when they booked Jelly Roll at the fair.
Well, I went to that concert.
I bet you did.
What the hell is that supposed to be?
Because I remember you. We'll get back to that. I'll tell you why. But you said, I posted when they said that or announced it. I said a bomb could go off at the fair that day, and the collective IQ of the entire state would double immediately. And
Dick.
so, the reason I said I bet you did is because I remember shortly into your divorce, like you weren't divorced yet. It was raw. It was happening. And apparently you hadn't heard of Jelly Roll before. I'd been getting inundated with this asshole for 2 years.
Yeah, they wait until you're divorced before they let
yeah, and then, hey, listen to this, man. Listen, this guy had hard times too and overcame them. I bet you can relate. So fucking so I remember you putting a post on Facebook where you said something like,
I remember it.
Like I didn't think I'd ever say, but man, that's a beautiful song, Jelly Roll.
I said, man, 2024 is a weird time. I just said out loud, what a beautiful song, Jelly Roll.
Yeah, and I commented and just went, no.
They got him. They got him. Oh no. I've been so long.
Oh, God. Next thing you know, you're gonna be wearing fucking Ross will be wearing Bob Seger shirts at some dive bar, taking over the jukebox. Right.
What the hell's wrong with Bob Seger?
Okay, nothing.
Because I had a lot of friends that are like this. A lot of my friends are like, fucking Bob Seger.
It's okay. Well, you know, over the course of all these years of knowing me, the reason I'm a hater has nothing to do with the thing itself. I never hate the thing itself. I hate the culture that surrounds the thing. I hate the people that like the thing. I'm like a roundabout hater, I guess. I don't know how you would define that.
I want to be real careful. I don't hate things. I hate the people that like things.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate subcultures. Like here's where
okay. I like that. But Bill,
and I don't mean that I hate subcultures in general. Yeah, you like that? Oh man, you know the cool thing about pillows, you can move them.
Did my aura just change?
You definitely look better.
I feel better.
Mm-hmm, I can tell.
I got my chakras in line or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I got smarter too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definite glow up.
So,
definite glow up.
And I don't mean like I don't like all subcultures. I mean,
Chris was saying something to us.
I just said that was a definite glow up when you moved your yeah, absolutely.
I felt it. You don't like subcultures, Bill, but you are okay. I want to put like a modifier on that. Because I think a lot of
I don't hate subcultures in general. I mean, the entities that I don't like are because of their subcultures.
Unless you're a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like everybody else. Unless if it's not my subculture,
exactly.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Have you heard that new phrase now? The thing that's floating around. I know you hate all these modern new things, just like I do. As soon as they become cliche, you want to spike them into the ground.
Yeah.
Don't yuck my yum.
Oh, I haven't heard that yet.
Look at that face. I love that face. When it gets you see Bill like this. Did you just say yuck my yum?
Yeah, see,
isn't that
it's getting to be really cliche, this positive energy stuff. Like
this positivity is really starting to piss me off, man.
I know. It's I sound horrible. Like
I love this, Bill.
I'm all about some positivity, but like this whole new I mean social media is responsible for all of these things nowadays. But like it's this new fucking I'm will it into existence. You know,
listen, man,
I'm too blessed to be stressed.
You're giving me the Palm Star laugh. The guy.
It's this whole fucking like. It's very,
dude. I've been there though. I've been that.
You know, you're trying to get out of the rut.
First of all, you've known me long enough to know I like to think I'm actually a pretty positive guy. I'm a pretty optimistic guy. And when you are in the mud, man, sometimes you got to fake it to make it at one point.
Yeah, and that's when I would call you.
Yeah, you did. You did absolutely call you. Yeah,
I'd be like, I know what you're saying.
I have a group of about 5 friends that when I was going through my divorce, when my mom died, buddies that reached out and just did exactly what you do. Josh Fisher's a classic one. My best friend Scott, who you know well, to call and just say, "Hey, man, what's up?"
Yeah.
Going, "Oh, nothing. I'm all right." Yeah, cool. My buddy Chris Flagg, Shipley knows Chris Flagg. Chris will do this once a week. I get a phone call from Flagg, and I'm on the phone with him for 7 minutes, and we don't talk about anything. And I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I know what he's doing.
He's just reading your energy.
He's just calling to be like, "You good? Everything all right? Need to hang out? Need a night away? Do you need a weekend away? Do you need an hour away? You know, that sort of thing." Without asking those questions, he's asking. He's asking those questions. So, dude, I've been
Except that. I actually ask the questions.
Too blessed.
I get
too blessed to be stressed. Yeah. I don't like that. It's not true. It's not true for me, but that's the type of stuff that I have to tell myself from time to time. And dude, that's the weird thing about these algorithms. Like with TikTok.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you start seeing all these fucking
the algorithm,
all this poetry with these fucking
algorithm knows.
And I told her I would never be the same. And it's like somebody fucking words somebody on a black
wild
thing,
how it's like, be thinking about being a father. Pop open your phone, scrolling through videos. All of a sudden, it's like to my daughter, I love you. You're like, oh my god, I love you. Such exact message.
Oh, dude, I was talking on the phone to a friend and making fun of a comic that I'm not gonna say their name because. But then their stuff started popping. Then they popped up on my fucking Facebook. I was like, dude,
that's why you got to be really careful, man. Like,
the mic.
When boobs and stuff start popping up on Twitter, especially, I've noticed. Seems like lately
you see more when if you open it.
Like, so you see more of it, and then if you click on one or you are on it for too long, then you're gonna get more of it.
Yeah, but now that's what's cool. What? That's the cool thing that Elon Musk has done is he took all those restrictions off. Like because at one point, Twitter was. You could watch all the porn you wanted just on Twitter. You just
no shit.
You could basically, if you clicked on a porn star, porn star's
Twitter account, it was
you would see. Well, if you scroll, you'll see 15-second videos of just fucking, and then it goes. It's another one and another one.
I think
he brought that back.
I think my 14-year-old is watching, and I don't want him to know that is.
Eli, are you on Twitter?
Eli's not on Twitter, I don't think.
If you use Twitter for your porn, you won't get any viruses. So you won't get caught. Your dad won't get.
Yeah, he gets enough advice.
I can talk to him privately about it.
Please.
It's kind of like the time
in front of me.
It's kind of like the time that my son. I think I may have brought this up on one of these podcasts. We've only had 2 episodes so far, but anyway, I remember my sister just shaming the shit out of my son when he was like a toddler for picking his nose. And I can remember being a kid and I had an aunt that would give me shit about picking my nose.
What was her name?
My Aunt Carol. Oh, Carol. Yep, Aunt Carol used to fucking. In fact, I remember one time, all she really did was make me be better at sneaking it. Because, what human being on earth doesn't pick their fucking nose? I'm so sick of people acting, you think motherfucker. Sometimes that's all there is for the relief.
She just made me get better at sneaking it. I pick my nose in the car. I've become a habitual nose picker.
Yeah, you forget that people can see through those windows.
Well, I got the driving crooner thing, so I post that on my window. So people...
yeah. Well, so, but I remember saying to my son, like, buddy, like, everybody picks their nose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just try not to let anybody see, because it's like, it's one of those things that I was so bad at recognizing stuff like that, where like somebody might be doing something like damaging my kid's self-esteem at a young age. Like, I was bad at picking up on if I was doing it or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the few times where right away I was like, no, you're making him feel like he's a piece of shit for this. Yeah. Like, it's one thing to go, hey man,
come on, Carol.
Yeah, don't let somebody see, like, he feels bad about himself. He thinks
they're pick on the kids, Carol.
He thinks there's something wrong with him because he has these urges to pick his nose, which is like, that's like what the Catholic religion does to people.
Well, they tell people not to pick their nose.
They make you feel guilty.
They shouldn't do that. Priests
for playing with your dick.
I'm pro picker when it comes to the priests. I've always been a pro picker priest guy my whole life.
I was obviously, conflating a couple of things there.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I don't think the priests are nose pick shamers.
You think
guys.
That they're doing the?
No, I think they like fingers in holes as much as possible. Actually, especially small ones.
Wow.
Especially small ones.
You came with no topics, but you had that joke ready to go. You came with no topics, you had that one loaded up.
Dude,
Catholic
think
church.
Funny.
You were waiting.
I think funny. No, like this is why everybody told me. I can't even say it. You know how like people will do that, like on Facebook. Average person that you're friends with. A lot of people have been asking me.
Yeah.
Like one or two people asked you.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that a lot.
Yeah,
especially once a person becomes like a content creator, then they'll be like, okay, everybody's been sending you all have been sending me this and tagging me and begging me to comment on this.
It's like 5 people.
You could just say, hey, I saw this video. I'm going to do my thing.
100%. So yeah, but there were, I remember, in fact, during COVID, there was a comic that called me. His name was Jason Douglas. He was a comic out of Kansas City, and he ended up managing the Richmond Funny Bone. I'm not sure if he still is or not. I haven't talked to him in a while. But he's one of those guys that, into the lockdown, called me. A lot of comics were kind of checking on each other and stuff, because we couldn't work. And he happened to call me, and it was like, yeah, I just happened to be going through this divorce too, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, that sucks, yada, yada. He goes, you should really think about moving out to LA when this is all over with. He was like, he goes, I have no doubt you would get a writing job almost pretty quickly. He was like, you think funny and people know who you are and you'd find a way.
You ever thought about that?
I have, but I thought about it. This was 4 years ago, him saying this, it's different.
Way different. Yeah.
My son was, but also my son was 18. Like there were other comics saying those things to me early on when my son was,
when you couldn't do it.
Well, I always could have, but I wasn't going to. I didn't want to be an absent father.
That's exactly what I mean by couldn't do it.
I mean, I was divorced from his mom.
Yeah, but couldn't do it doesn't imply.
No,
It means I wasn't gonna.
Right. Yeah, it just wasn't. And I remember.
I would still say the same thing. I'm not leaving Iowa.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would now.
Why don't you look like you're as comfortable as I am? You try to get more comfortable. Look how comfy I am. As cool as cooler than that. Cooler than you are, dude.
Not as like now you can. I don't know how much time they're spending in like writers' rooms at a table anymore. I mean, you might be able to do a lot of that remotely now. It's something I don't really know. I mean, if you're gonna get a writing job, you got to show up with some scripts and stuff. I don't have anything. You know what I mean? What am I gonna walk in there and, hey, I got an idea? And
I've never looked into it or thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, and that's the thing. Like I remember, Capone. He's a decent comic, and he had a little heat there for a while, I think, back in the day. But he had said to me the one bit of advice, because I never asked anybody for advice ever. That you'll get some unsolicited advice, some of it's good, some of it's bad. Usually the advice you think is good is the stuff that when they're being positive about you. Like, oh, you're really funny, you should do this. It was like, oh yeah.
You obviously know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
You think I'm hilarious.
You think I'm funny.
You think this is big?
But what he said, don't ever go into a meeting without being prepared. He goes, I had all this heat. I had all these meetings set up. I walked in there with nothing. He was like, you got to make sure, you got to have some ideas. Yeah. Like they want to assign me to this thing. They're like, okay, what do you got for me? And I had no ideas. It was like,
kind of like this show when we started. You're like, I have no ideas. What are we talking about? I have no ideas.
No, but that's what this show is. This show is friends hanging out.
Chris said he had stuff.
And he will. It's a regular segment.
I like it.
Yeah, after break, basically Chris comes with a few things that he would just like to hear our opinions on.
You know me. Yeah. You know me and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
They're like assholes. They stink.
You've got one.
And it's smelly.
God, what was I gonna? Okay, so owl. I've decided owl's 2 syllables. Was there something else?
I can't land the plane on that one. Owl. Yeah,
because W. Like.
Well, yeah, W is 3 syllables.
3 syllables. So owl would have almost.
That isn't true. Because Y is 1 syllable, and it's got WHY.
Yeah, but the H cuts it off. Like the H changes.
I feel like your reasoning of there being a W automatically makes it a 2-syllable word falls flat. I think that when you say the word owl, so count the vowel sounds. The number of syllables in a word is equal to what?
Yeah, so 2. I like that.
Wait a minute, that's a real thing.
That's one. There's only one vowel. There's only one vowel.
Comment?
I did.
Was that you that made that comment?
That was me.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You can.
No. It says count the. No. It says count the vowel sounds. Count the vowel sounds, not the vowel.
No.
Oh.
So there are 2. There are 2 vowel sounds in the word owl. You have the O sound and the E sound. Owl.
Well,
or an O sound or a double O sound.
Since I Googled it.
I love this.
Like I'm pronouncing it like OWEL.
See, Chris
Googled
it.
Yeah.
And it's Google, 1 syllable.
Google says it's 1 syllable. Google says you're saying it wrong. You got to say it like this.
Owl. That's bullshit. That's like saying fucking people that say Missouri are pronouncing it right.
Howl. Howl is 1 word. Is 1 syllable. Howl.
Owl. Dude, I'm telling you, the clap test never fails. This is bullshit. Fucking bullshit.
I always thought the clap test too. That couldn't have been a DMPS thing. That had to have been like a nationwide deal where we were taught to go Mississippi.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that was kind of a universal, but we find out things are wrong, I guess.
Oh, all the time.
I remember there was one of the questions that Chris had, I think it was last week maybe, was like, what was something you thought would be different now, or something that you thought when you were a kid that isn't the case now, or something. And I just remember saying to him, I thought there would be way more people trying to trick me into killing me when I got older.
Trying to trick me into
killing me. Yeah. Like the old, remember when we were in high school and they'd be like, hey, the Crips are doing initiation.
Oh.
if you flash your headlight, they're driving around. With
Yeah.
headlights
Oh,
off.
don't. Yeah. If you see people with their headlights
if you
off, don't
flash your
them.
headlights, they're gonna
Yeah.
shoot at you.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
just all of those type of things. They're like stop, drop, and roll. I saw a video or a meme today that was like this stop, drop, and roll shit. I thought I was gonna be on fire way more often.
And then doesn't John Mulaney have a bit where he's like, you know, I was led to believe quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem.
I don't know if it's him or not. Yeah, I've heard a couple different people talk about quicksand. Yeah, like remember being a kid, like the never-ending story when the horse dies in the fucking quicksand. It's one of the saddest things in the world.
I apparently never saw that.
You never saw the never-ending
What you just
story.
said to me was, it sounded like you might as well have been talking about something that happened in Lord of the Rings. I don't know. You said the never-ending story, and that rang a bell. And then you said when the horse dies in the quicksand at the end, it's the saddest.
No,
thing
not
ever.
at the end.
Oh, whatever. I didn't know any of that. None of that rang a bell.
So you never saw the never-ending story.
I don't think I ever saw the never-ending
Atreyu!
story. That doesn't ring a bell at all. I know
the flying dog dragon thingy.
That thing rings a bell, but I think that I just saw enough imagery of that in our lifetime.
The never-ending story. You ever hear that song?
That kind of rang a bell. Then when you do the little story.
Yeah. I like the way you did your hand. You should take one headphone off and do it.
If you do it like this.
Yeah. Never-ending story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're hitting that note.
I know. Again, I sat up good. I looked good when I sat up. And that
Chris, did you?
What that did, they opened my diaphragm up, and then I was able to.
Oh, that's what.
Whole new register, dude. Whole new register.
Chris, did you see the never-ending story?
Never seen it in my life.
Is it?
Oh, Chris. Yeah. See, this is not one.
Man.
Also, it's misleading because clearly
we got 94. We got 94 people.
Misleading because clearly that shit ended.
Dude, it's funny because my aunt. It's so funny. My aunt used to take me to a movie when I was a kid for my birthday, and I think I was about 6 years old. She tells the story all the time. That's when I saw that movie for the first time. She took me to the never-ending story.
Yeah,
and she said about halfway through the movie, I was like, "Well, you know why they call it the never-ending story." Like 6-year-old me, like, all right, I've had enough of this shit.
You always did think funny, yeah.
But
I remember when
Bastion,
I took
what's my name?
Come
on, somebody that's watching. What do we got? 95 people right now. Somebody fucking comment, please, that they've seen the never-ending story.
I took Eli to Cedar Rapids when he was a little boy. He's like 3 or 4 years old, and I had to take his mom over there for some work thing and like drop her off, and she was doing some class, and then so I dropped her off, and Eli and I like went and did some shopping and like saw the town of Cedar Rapids, and then went and picked his mom up and drove home. And we're driving to go pick her up after a fun day. They had like a children's museum in the mall or something. We had fun, and we're driving, and he's like, "Are we done?" I'm like, "Yeah." I could tell he was sad. And I'm like, "What? Why, buddy? I thought we had a fun day." He's like, "We did. But when are we going to see the rabbits?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "When are we going to see the rabbits?" I'm like, "What rabbits?"
Were you watching Of Mice and Men?
And all week long, he had thought I had been saying, "I'm going to take Eli to go see the rabbits." I'm rolling out of town, and he's like, "Hey, motherfucker, what's up, man? You've been telling me about these rabbits, homie. What's up?" He's like, "Where are the rabbits?" I'm like, "Rabbits?" It took me a minute.
I thought your son just turned into fucking.
Oh, Mice and Men.
Tell him about the rabbits, Ross.
No, that was the.
Oh my fucking god!
Cedar Rapids
is comedy. How old was he?
Man, he had to have been 3 or 4 or something like that. He was little kid, little guy.
So did you just bust out laughing?
I did.
In the moment. And how do you feel about that?
In fact, I'm sure I probably called. I'm sure you were one of the people I called.
Maybe.
Funny that
I feel like I would remember that.
Yeah, that'd been 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or something like
that. The rabbits.
Yeah. See the rabbits.
Did you have a solution?
Did
you try to find a way to go see some rabbits?
No, I did not.
Man.
I just explained to him that we'd been to a town called Cedar Rapids. And what it reminded me of, Bill, is I remember one time we used to go up to Wisconsin for my mom's parents. My mom lived in Wisconsin on this farm. So we'd go up there to see my grandma and grandpa. And it was always a bitch when we'd go in the middle of winter because we almost always hit a nasty snowstorm. Well, one particular winter, we were actually missing it. It was going to be hitting Des Moines while we were up in Milwaukee. And we were really excited. And I just remember it was going to be a crazy snowstorm. And on the way up there, they were talking. The dad's listening to the radio, and they're talking about it. And we get to the farm, and I'm like, yeah, we had a really bad snowstorm. And my grandpa was like, how much snow did you get? And I said, they said on the radio we got 46 inches.
Instead of 4 to 6.
4 to 6. Yeah. And we're like, whoa, we have 46 inches.
Man, I can't believe you guys got out of there. You're gonna have to dig your house out of there.
We didn't get 46 inches snow.
I think that's what they just got in like upstate New York or something.
Oh, dude, there's a doc.
Like 46 or 47 inches or something.
There's a doc on Netflix right now about a or ski resort in Colorado. I'm gonna draw a blank on the name of it, man. I'm sorry. It's called Buried, and it is about this ski resort. Dude, they got
I haven't watched it, but
143 inches of snow.
Wow.
Over like a short period of time, like a couple of weeks, they got 10 feet of snow.
How many deaths?
I remember about like 7, a handful.
That's pretty good.
There was a family. There were like 3 people. Then there were a couple of the workers. Yeah, I remember like 6 or 7. And I don't want to give away too much, but they do find a girl alive. So spoiler alert.
What?
It happened in like 1980. So.
What the people that died though? What killed them? Just flat out.
The avalanche.
So there was an avalanche.
There was an avalanche that destroyed this ski village.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good numbers if that's all that died.
I mean, it's a really good doc, man. They saw it coming, they knew, and they tried to keep everybody off the mountain for as long as they could.
Yeah.
But it's a business, and so you've got to keep some people there so at least when it does stop snowing, you can have people ski.
So it's kind of like Kim Reynolds with COVID. Like,
I
trust Iowans to make the right choices.
I guess she could have done something different. She could have shut down more businesses.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm just saying it's a business. I mean, honestly, what do you do?
Dude, talk about a time when a lot of people made mistakes and didn't know what we were doing.
Was it because they were unprecedented times?
Sure.
Or were they trying times?
All of it.
Or were they both?
All of it. They were unprecedentedly trying.
Unprecedented trying times.
We've never been precedented or tried like that.
Okay. So where do you stand right now? What are your feelings about the
drones over New Jersey? Let me tell you.
Okay, yeah.
No. What are you gonna say?
No. That's gonna be one of my topics. So don't.
Oh,
that's gonna be one of my topics.
We'll say that for Chris. Right.
Okay, so I recently saw someone posted something about this, Luigi how do you say his last name?
Mangione. Yeah, the guy who killed the United Healthcare.
Yeah, CEO. Well, allegedly.
Okay.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
And his lawyer has not seen any evidence that proves shit so far, from what I've heard.
Oh, he ain't on Twitter. He ain't got Twitter. I'll tag him in some video.
Oh, did they? His lawyer. Yeah.
And you're right. It is a legend, and
the conspiracy theorists are showing. I saw one where they showed his picture with the mask on, and his eyebrows are like really thin.
Yeah.
And then he's got these thick ass eyebrows. But anyway, a guy was basically saying like this guy. He's a brat. He's a fucking rich kid born into a billionaire family or whatever, and he's this entitled asshole. He's not a hero. where are you at with it? How do you feel?
That's open-ended right there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
mostly people kind of making him a martyr in a way. I guess he can't be a martyr yet because he's alive. But
looking at what he did as some sort of act of heroism or bravery.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I get what people are trying to do there, but man, we're so lost when it comes to these conversations, Bill. We're so lost as a society, man. When we forget that it was a human being who was a dude from Iowa. You can hate what he did for a job, but he did his job. People might hate what you do for a job, but you're doing your job. And you're doing what your boss has told you to do. And if you're good at your job, you work your way up the ladder. And if you're great at your job, you get to be a captain of an industry. And that's where this guy had gotten to. And so, like, it's an achieved life that is cut down short. Now, do we have a fucked up system that allows this guy to be a bajillionaire and deny care to a bunch of people that desperately need it, that have paid their hard-earned money so that he can be that bajillionaire? Yes, we do. Yep. And that's where in our society, man, we've gotten so twisted, though, where this identity politics allows us to instantly call black and white on an issue.
Mm-hmm.
A man is
without
dead.
nuance.
Without nuance, man.
Mm-hmm.
We can't take a moment to realize that there's a whole bunch of nuance in this on both sides. Not only the CEO healthcare, or the healthcare CEO, I'm sorry, but also in this young man that's now been I almost said convicted, arrested, and is alleged to have murdered him and is charged. And his story is unfolding, and his family is unfolding. I mean, think of the ripple effects of this rock in the water, of what happens with his family. His mom and dad, their life is not the same from that moment on. Completely different. Most people that knew him, that grew up with him, his childhood friends, his cousins, he was a good looking dude who went out and did a lot of stuff. People knew this guy, man. They knew him. Bill, this would be like if John Bush, and all of a sudden I'd be like, dude, John, you're friends with John Bush? It changes your identity.
Yeah.
So the ripple effects of all these human beings whose lives have been affected and are different now because of this thing. And then I think that the gross part is that martyrdom thing that you're talking about, whatever you want to have, the hero worship thing that's happening with this young man.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gross, because that's the real indication of how far we've slipped. That, did you ever see Easy Rider? I know I'm going to veer here.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I borrowed your DVD years and years ago.
Remember the end?
Vaguely. I remember being slightly disappointed.
They
just kind of ride off, right?
He's riding along and a truck pulls up next to him and shoots him.
That's right.
And he dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like after all that.
Yeah. This is how this thing ends. Yeah. Right. When the movie came out, there was like this cultural phenomena that happened inside movie theaters where half the audience cheered when the main character got shot dead. The guy that you've been asked to endear yourself to really attach to, when he's dead, half the people in the audience cheered.
So half the people hated it.
Right. Which is so. And I think that why that story came into my head with this is because we as human beings can sit in the same theater, hear the same story next to each other for 2 hours, and walk away with two totally different outcomes from it. And now we get these snapshots of the story. Well, the backpack's a different color. His eyebrows aren't the same. It does seem, back to the conspiracy theory of him maybe not being the guy, it does seem like he's probably the guy because of all the things that were found with it, kind of like his manifesto type of thing.
Fingerprints.
Dude, and then this is where the conspiracies come in, because I love conspiracy theories but they get weird and wild. So like this whole thing of him getting caught in the McDonald's, but then the pictures that he had up on his Instagram account, and the writing on the bullets and how they might be attached to that book that was, I mean, there's just layers and layers and layers and layers. So I think that the right response to it is to slow down, take our time. There's a family that's mourning. That's sad. There's a man that's dead in the prime of his life. That's sad. He was not a murderer. This was not Al Capone. This was not some bad dude out there selling drugs to pregnant women. You might not have liked what he did. I didn't either, but it was his job.
Well,
and he was good at his job, apparently.
What if someone were to say, well, the guards at Auschwitz were doing their job?
They were shitty of them, right?
Yeah. But could someone say, when you say this guy wasn't a murderer, what if someone said, well, actually he was?
I don't equate those
just not things directly.
I don't equate those two things. And I don't think that.
But why not?
Because the guards at Auschwitz knew that nobody was coming out.
No, what I mean is, I don't mean equating those two things as far as the guards at Auschwitz. What I mean is, what about someone who says
he's not a murderer?
He is a murderer because he denies care to all these people.
That's not the same thing. You are making.
I'm just being
whoever
devil's advocate.
Whoever this person is that you're saying, I will say to them, you are making mental gymnastics there to justify something that can't be justified.
That you liked.
Yeah,
more or less.
To
You're
justify
happy
a
that it
murder
happened.
of a guy that you might not have liked his industry. I'm with you. You might not have liked his job. I'm with you. This was not a dude out there selling crack to pregnant women. This was not a dude out there that was killing, murdering people.
Yeah,
it wasn't. What you might not have liked the product of what he was doing, but to cheer for his death, man, I think it's more of an indication, Bill, of how far we've come. Our political discourse in this country is so. I always equate it to a ping pong match. When you and I, if you had a ping pong table over here instead of a pool table, you and I would play ping pong, and it would go da-ding, 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 kind of like our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But on the internet, it's Olympic table tennis. It starts with a serve, and then it might be returned normal, but within seconds, it looks nothing like normal conversation. Within seconds, you're doing these extreme things on the internet in these conversations, and it doesn't look like the ping pong that helped us get to where you and I don't agree a lot politically. You and I are both kind of men without a party.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't necessarily agree on a lot of politics. But man, we've had thousands of conversations about it,
right? And
walk away loving each other. And what happens on the internet is that ping pong match turns into
because you get to dehumanize the other side.
You're further away from each other. Yeah, exactly. Great way, great cause there, Bill, on that effect.
Yeah.
The cause is we're dehumanized. Mm-hmm. The effect is we're able to say crazy shit that doesn't actually help advance the conversation.
Well, just look at
crazy shit like, I'm glad a guy was murdered because I was denied a healthcare coverage. Well, then, I mean, healthcare insurance sucks.
Yeah. Well, just look at it's just class warfare, which I think any type of warfare that is us against them somehow, everybody makes it an us against them.
Yeah.
Whatever side you're on, right? It all can be boiled down to class in some way. Whether it's racial, you can still throw class in there. You can always, it's always haves and have-nots on some level.
Yeah.
And the dehumanization happens on both ends.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
what happens is you have poor people dehumanizing rich people because they're like, fuck that rich motherfucker.
You're nailing it, Bill.
Right? And then you have the rich people dehumanizing the poor people because they're like, man, fuck those welfare fucking.
You could fill those blanks in with almost
anything.
Opposition group.
100%.
That Republicans demonize Democrats, Democrats demonize Republicans.
You can do it up with the Gaza Strip. You can
absolutely.
Dude,
you can do it within these subcultures we used to talk about.
Every single subculture.
Look at Christians.
Yes. Yeah.
You want to hear some?
Well,
good...
shit, I just did it. I said, if they fucking bomb the Jelly Roll concert, I'd be happy about it.
Want to hear some good jokes about the Presbyterians? Go to the Lutheran Church.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Oh my God. Speaking of which, this is how a fucking ADHD we get. So, jokes, right? There's a joke book that my sister got me one year for Christmas. She bought me like tickets to something. I think it might have been, no, because I lived here. Anyway, it was tickets to something, and she was looking for something to put the tickets in so she could wrap it, right?
Okay. All right.
So she finds this book at like Goodwill. I mean,
when you say joke book, like book of jokes?
Book of jokes. Okay. Like, back in the day, you'd have
I know what you're talking about.
101 relationship jokes.
Right.
So this is a hardcover book that's like from the 50s. She had no idea what she was buying. She just
picked a book.
It was a joke book. She knew it was a joke book. She didn't really look that in depth into it. This fucking book is so old. I'm gonna go when we get off here. I'll dig it up so you can look.
This should be a segment on this show.
I'm thinking it might be going forward. It's got a table of contents, and it's got every fucking joke you can think of. And it straight up says like Jew jokes.
Oh no.
Polak jokes. Indian jokes.
Yeah, we'll nix that segment.
Yeah.
I got sponsors over here.
Yeah. Inward jokes.
That was good. She'll be like, editorial note.
Except it doesn't say inward jokes. It's that old, you know how they all talked back then, in the 70s, 60s and 70s. And it was like, the Negro population. They used that word.
Holy
so
cow.
That in the table of contents, Negro jokes.
I kind of want to see the.
Yeah, how can you not want to see the book? No, don't fucking get all white guilty on me. You fucking know. Goddamn well you're going to open this book up and laugh your balls off. Every fucking black comic that I am friends with would laugh their balls off at this joke. This is something I need to have in a green room amongst comics because although, I could take it on the Rogan show and it would be fucking framed.
My brain will hold it in place here for a second. Sorry.
But seriously, so I don't remember what made me bring that book up.
Can I?
Oh, it's the dehumanization.
Yeah.
It just, now, we have done a better job of humanizing things. We are getting better at that, but I feel like what we do is we just shift it. There's a line, and I believe it's either 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink. I think it's Pretty in Pink because isn't that the one where she's the poor girl? She's poor.
Yeah.
I think in Pretty in Pink, somebody said this to me a long time ago.
Dude.
But there's a line in there where somebody says, well, hating them because they have money isn't much different than them hating us because we don't, ain't it?
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to tell myself that a lot because I find myself, I'm not gonna lie, my knee-jerk reaction to that shit was like, fuck yeah, one for the good guys. Like, that's my knee-jerk right away.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Yeah. But then I find out, graduated from Iowa, big donator to the Swarm. Now I'm like, fuck, god damn it.
Now my football team
might get fucking worse because this guy's dead.
Damn you, Giovanni.
How fucking stupid am I? You know what I mean? That my brain but
so he got
the results though. What I would really like to dive into is this. Do you think, because I happen to think that maybe there's a part of me that's like, I would love it if there was a fucking CEO hit list right now. Because I feel like corporate greed is Bill, why we're in the shit we're in.
You are not addressing the problem. And maybe that's part of where the conversation.
How are the guys making these decisions not the problem?
Buddy, the system is the problem, not the CEO's salary. The system.
Well, I'm not talking about his salary, but he's making these decisions.
And if you cut off the head of that snake, do you know what happens? Another head
grows. Yeah,
they put 100%. Another CEO in his place.
But
CEO, another CEO steps in place, and they don't say, and they're not going to say to the next CEO, "Hey, by the way, they murdered the last guy because he was making $10 million a year. We want to pay you $6 million. If we pay you less money, they're probably not going to kill you." No, the next guy's going to go, "Hey, my life is on the line if I take that job title."
Yeah.
So what you really did there was you fucked yourself, because the next guy's going to need more money, and it's not like,
because now it's a dangerous job.
It is a dangerous job, and now and now we've got a group, a segment of the society out there applauding that it becomes a dangerous job.
Right.
This is a white collar job. This is not mercenary. This isn't sniper at the George Strait concert. This is healthcare CEO. Again, you can hate the industry. I'm with you. You can hate what the product of it is. I'm with you. I hate my healthcare coverage.
But what changes the industry besides offing some motherfuckers?
It ain't this.
But
it ain't this, Bill.
What in the history of the world?
So
because I feel like people
get into politics.
Well, no. But what I'm saying is, in the history of the world, right? Every problem, no matter how much we want to fucking tell our kids violence doesn't solve anything, yada yada yada. Every fucking advancement, everything that's happened in the history of the world is the result of violence.
That's not true. There's always been violence in the
world. Something changes after the war. After the war, there's a war, and then something happens.
You're making causation there. You're and that's not the case. There's always been violence because human beings are always violent. There's always been change because we evolve. It's not that because of violence we change. That's never.
You don't think that?
I'm not
happened?
saying it's never. I'm not saying it's never that. I'm saying it's not that. That's the formula. These two things are running independently of each other. Violence is happening. Change is happening. So and sometimes change gets spurred by violence, but they are not cogs in a wheel that are turning together. And to think that one causes the other automatically, I think is short-sighted also. You want to change the system, we have to make it so that healthcare is not mandated from the federal government, that because the same thing happened with car insurance. You mandated.
Yeah, it makes it legal extortion.
Federal government steps in and says, everybody has to pay for this. The price goes up and the quality of the product goes down, and there ain't shit you can do until you're mad enough to go and pop a dude on a street corner.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, you want that the politics of it have to change, and we got to go back to some really tough conversations and readdress some really hard things. And what were we lied to about? What were we wrong about? And you got to stop a lot of times in life and go, okay, I ain't the smartest motherfucker. In fact, I'm pretty stupid. So where was I wrong? And where did I get fooled? Because it really cracks me up when people do this with politicians. Kamala Harris is so stupid she can't even read off of a teleprompter.
Yeah.
This lady was a district attorney in California.
Yeah.
You don't know the shred of intelligence
that
it takes for a person to get. And by the way, the exact same thing applies to Donald Trump.
Yeah. We
used to say this about my favorite ever. When the light really turned on for me was when people used to make fun of George W. Bush for being stupid.
Yeah.
Motherfucker went to Yale.
Right.
Went to Yale,
but
and I had to listen to dudes at DMAC like, man, this dude can't fucking potato, man. I was like, oh, this guy was in an Ivy League school. Well, you only got there because it's daddy. That ain't the way that works.
No. But also,
you don't like daddy can open doors for you. Daddy, we've all seen this. Daddy can make life easy for you till about 30.
Yeah. Then you're on your own.
then reality.
You had to have made some kind of choice.
You had to have, yeah, right. So this whole thing, we do this with people all the time on all sides of the aisle. And we have to stop sometimes and go, all right, where was I wrong?
Yeah.
Because I got fooled somewhere along the way, and
But what spurs that to happen? Like you got, you know, what how was I lied to? Yada. Like right now, for example,
here's what it is. Here's what it is. It's and in this situation, it might be that the violence of this particular moment is what was the catalyst for this collective consciousness that we're having, this conversation that we're all having about how fucked up this system is and how angry people are with it, and the real numbers. Like when you see the real numbers of how much insurance costs, how often they deny care, there was kind of a moment here this last month of a lot of people going, wait, this is happening to everybody? This is like this thing that happened to my grandma, or this thing that happened to somebody in my family, or to me, or my kid.
To 100,000 people's grandmas.
100,000 people, because this is just what they do. And then you grit your teeth and go, fuck this insurance company. And that's where it's going to start, because somebody is going to somebody will launch a political career off of this moment. Somebody will build their entire platform on insurance reform. I'm going to be the person that goes to Washington and fixes this. And right now, you've got, because of this violence momentum, you've got some people there that would go, yep, you bet. Change insurance, I'm all for it, because my constituents are pissed about this thing. So
if all that happens, was it not a good thing?
No.
If the one guy gets popped and 100 million people get better health care because of it, that's not a good trade.
The 100 million people getting taken care of, and our first world problems actually solving themselves, that's a good thing. This guy dying, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And it's okay to say both of those things.
Yeah, both things can be true.
Okay to say, man, it's a really shitty thing that this productive human being who had thrived and worked his way to the top of an industry got cut short in the prime of his life. Who knows what that guy was going to do? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what he was going to do with his money? If he was going to be philanthropic, we don't know, and there's no way of ever knowing. He may have had a come to Jesus moment. Hell, he may have been a guy that was eventually going to help turn this thing around. Who knows? What we do know is that we won't know because this guy was murdered. So there's my take on it.
Okay. I feel like this is a good place to take a break. Let's get a word from a couple of our sponsors, and then I'm going to come back and one of the topics I feel is going to be right up Ross's alley. I picked this before I knew Ross was going to be on the podcast. So, but let's.
Well, it ought to be good then.
There we go. Let's get a word from Revelton Distilling Company. And
does that have anything to do with syllables?
Nope.
Red Bolton 3. Green Beret Realty.
All right, here we go.
Realty is 3. Which vegan?
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
When energy meets precision, anything is possible.
I'm Carter Hawley, the Chief Energy Officer of the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm full of energy on and off the court, but nothing gives me more energy than helping families find their dream home. And that's where Green Beret Realty comes in. They're more than just realtors. They're a team dedicated to getting things right for you and your family, just like we get it right on the court. No basket. That was on the floor before the shot. Out of bounds. Come on. Can you believe that? You can't take that away from me.
That call was absolutely terrible. Are you guys cautiously trying to be this bad? I mean, does your mom not love you?
Have you seen how old my partner is? My back hurts already from carrying him all night. And I've heard enough out of you.
So you're gone. Fine.
Jim, are you blind? Basket's good. We got a three-pointer. Sometimes it takes a team to get the call right. And when you're buying a home, you want a team that makes all the right calls. That is Green Beret Realty. And here's the best part. When you buy or sell a home through Dan at Green Beret Realty and mention this ad, he'll make a donation to the We Will Collective, helping student athletes like me thrive on and off the court.
That call's so easy, even we can make it.
Green Beret Realty, because getting the call right means everything.
All right, we're back.
Man, that's some Oscar-winning shit right there.
Dan's doing great. Dan has been really doing great. So, yep.
That reminds
Green
me.
Beret Realty, big fan. Big fan of Dan.
That reminds me of a. Remember those First Assembly of God commercials?
The
guy he'd be like in a gym, and like they'd show him, like he'd be standing there and he would have a basketball and he'd like shoot it and it would be like an air ball and he'd be like, sometimes in life we just can't hit the basket.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
But God loves us. And so if you come to First Assembly of God, maybe next time switch or whatever. It's fucking hilarious. I remember I was doing an experiment one time for KGGO. It was around the holidays, and I dressed up. This was Paul Lane's idea actually, and I dressed like I was homeless, and I stood on the 86th Street exit off of I-80, and I held up a sign that said "Need money for kids." And we donated all the money that I got to KGGO children's charities or whatever back then, right? And so yeah, I stand there all day, all morning holding this sign, and that guy, the First Assembly of God guy, pulls up, looks at me, and couldn't look away quick enough. I was like, some fucking man of God you are. Pretty sure Jesus would have gave me a quarter, you fucking dick.
I always remember whenever I see one of those guys, I don't know why this sticks with me, Ross. One time on the radio, you said, look at the guy's sign. If he's got a Sharpie, that dude doesn't need your money.
Chris.
And every single time I see somebody, I look at the sign. That looks like a really good sign.
If he's got a Sharpie, I never thought of that. If he's got a Sharpie,
I can't find a black Sharpie around my house that works. These motherfuckers have 6 colors. These dudes, they don't have anything, but they got 6 different colors of highlighter and marker to make a sign that says something catchy. And this is one of the things Bill and I fight about a lot. In fact, this would have been my last take on the radio if I never would have been rehired back in 2020.
Uh-huh.
The last conversation that Williams and I had on the air, I went off on. You and I have had this conversation
about giving people money.
Don't feed the fucking bears. Don't feed the bears at the zoo. You're only going to make the problem worse. You hand them money out of your window, they're only going to come back and stand there. You're never, ever, ever going to fix the problem. You're not going to hand that guy money and he's going to go, finally, I got the $9.43 I needed, and run off.
Well, no,
and go do his thing. It is a perpetual problem. And then our kids see people standing on the side of the road begging for money. They need mental help. They need help. So what they need is not people to roll up and hand them dollars out the window. That ain't helping them a bit. It's helping you. It's making you feel good. And you're going, oh, I just did what Jesus would have done. No,
well, what would Jesus have done?
Jesus would have helped them.
By giving them some money?
Not by giving them money.
Something to eat.
But maybe by giving them something to eat. Be
like, hey, I got this hooker over here. They'll give you some pussy.
I do think
but that's been my take on it for a long time is it should be this is something like to serve and protect. This is something that, and I've talked to Paul Parisic, my friend Sergeant Parisic, the jurisdiction is they intentionally confuse who can actually police that area, those intersections.
Mm-hmm.
So DMPD cannot police the interstate.
Right. That's got to be the highway
It has
patrol.
to be, so it's all sorts of fucked up. And instead of actually being able to pull up and assist these people and get them in places, we have groups around town that are designed specifically for this, to take in unhoused people, help them figure out what they want to do. Some people want to be off the grid. And if that's what they want to do, they can assist them with that and getting them propane and keeping them warm in the winter. Some people need a hand to get them a steady brick to build a foundation on. They can do that as well. This shit doesn't help. It's the same people. Everybody that's listening to this and hears this knows. Everybody, it's the same people at the same intersections for months on end. You ain't helping.
Until they OD. See, I think you're helping.
It's a Sharpie test.
I think it's euthanasia.
I'm going by the Sharpie test.
You give them, like, to me, if they're gonna take that money and go get some heroin, like, I don't know, within that 2 months, at some point they're gonna OD. So
okay. We got to move on. All right, we got fun topics to talk about. So earlier in the pod, you guys started to talk a little bit about the drones and all the shit that's going on and all the conspiracy theories or whatever. So I don't want to talk about the drones. I want to ask each one of you, what is the one conspiracy theory that you 100% believe to be true?
Earth is flat. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut the fuck up.
See you, boys.
Dude, look out the window, Ross, right now. You see any curvature? You see?
Got me. In fact, your driveway slanted. Shit.
Yeah.
We live on a hill.
100%. Yeah.
Is there one that you can say, right? I'd have to think about this for a second. I mean, I don't think that Oswald was alone in killing JFK. I think that there's more to the 9/11 story.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that you can take almost anything that we had to rely on the government for our information and guarantee that we didn't get all of it.
It takes a long time, man. Like Gulf of Tonkin is a great example.
Well, there's also that element of, like we said, we talk about that class warfare, right? And just, we're up here, you're down here. There's that element of them just assuming that the public can't handle this information. If the public actually knew everything, they'd all fucking freak out. It's our job.
100% believe that about the JFK assassination. And you might be onto something with 9/11. I don't know that, like, the government was on it, but I think that we don't know everything. I think that we don't know all the ties that maybe we had.
That's what I'd want to be really careful with, because I'm not saying that I think that, like, I want to go full Jesse Ventura on this right now, but I do think that we don't know everything that happened with 9/11. And like, if I had to pick one specific part of 9/11, that Building 7 thing is so freaking weird to me. But again, that'd be there's my. I think that's probably my one that I entertain. The flat Earth thing is comical to me, but that's one of those things you got to be careful with, like your algorithm and things. If you entertain yourself too much with those, then all of a sudden you get those videos all the time, and then it's like, we live with there's some really.
Are you by any chance referencing that because of a TikTok trend from some radio show? Do you know what I'm talking about? So I was on TikTok I don't know, it was like Saturday.
The flat Earth thing, you mean?
Yeah, and I ran across this segment where they called these people that had been ghosted on a second date. And they called this girl and wanted to know why this girl had not called this guy back. And she's like, well, frankly, because he's a flat earther.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And
you heard this on the radio?
No. And she was like,
hold on.
Yeah, he was talking about how he didn't believe the earth was flat. And I was like, no way. Well, the whole time she's like ripping this guy, he's on the line and he hears the story. He hears her. So he jumps in.
I got some bad news. That's some bad news. You know what? I can't.
It's fake, right?
Don't say that.
But my point is that this guy said something about, like, like at the end of the earth was like this wall of ice and everything else, and it was just kind of funny. I didn't know if that's what you were referencing.
So
No.
that is so. Chris, here's what I want to share with you, and I've ruined this for a lot of people, and I'm sorry. I'm going to ruin it for all of you.
I think I'm the one that ruined it for you, didn't I?
No, I knew.
You already knew.
Well,
yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I gotta
Shut up.
Yeah.
I will tell you that from just my own knowledge of being in the industry for many years, and no other person has ever shared information with me that would let me know this. Those calls are fake.
Oh, I assumed after about the fifth or fourth one that I listened to, I was like, this seems a little.
Yeah, they find people who are willing to perform in communities around the country, and they pay them to do these radio bits. So like when you're listening and it's like, hey, it's the morning zoo. We're gonna have this funny radio bit. You guys are gonna believe that Cheryl was ghosted by this guy. Kevin, are you the Kevin? Is this Kevin? Kevin, it's Wacky from the morning show.
Yeah, this is Kevin.
Yeah, right. Kevin, it sounds like you just woke up. How you doing this morning, man?
Well, I did. I had a day.
Did you have a couple of cocktails at Muddy's the other night, Kevin? Did you hear Muddy's?
Yeah, I had a couple of cocktails.
Do you remember being the smoking hot blood?
I did. Yeah. She ghosted me. She gave me her number. I tried calling her.
She ghosted you?
Totally ghosted me. Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Well, it didn't feel great. What happened was we were talking, we were hitting it off, everything was going well, and she asked me my opinion on Christopher Columbus, and because it was around Columbus Day.
Yeah.
I said, well, let me tell you, and I just think a little differently about some things, and she just isn't on board.
Most morning shows, they've got that one girl who was obviously had a really colorful past. And they're like, oh, Misty, you used to tell guys that, didn't you? Oh, yeah.
She's called the Hole.
See, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
I hear those phone calls, and I'm always like,
Yeah.
So clearly that's not where you referenced that from.
Yeah, no, that wasn't from that. So. And the Flat Earth one, like Andrew Downs has this great line. When that really started to kick off, AD and I would sit and talk a lot. And he had this great line one time. He said, I don't think that the Earth is flat. I'm just a little less convinced that it's round.
I watched a documentary where these people, it was these flat earthers, and it was so fucking hilarious. It's a great example of what happens when people get around like-minded people.
Yes, I've seen it.
Because everybody else, I think I told you to watch it.
Is this the one where at the end they do the experiment with the holes in the board?
Yes, and but like they go to I think they go to the NASA museum or something, and they're showing they're walking around the museum and they're making fun of the exhibits, like they should let's just, for example, I'm just making this up, but it's along these lines. Like they show Neil Armstrong getting out of the spaceship. There's like a picture of it, or like there's like a statue built.
Yeah,
some kind of display, and they're like. Look at this. They think this fucking guy, this guy got on this fucking ship.
It's the silo, dude. You're around people like that.
Oh my god.
Now, okay, if we're going to talk conspiracy theories, I'll tell you that not convinced, but less sure. Man, there is some hard stuff to get your head around with the moon landing. They're really the fact that they were able to broadcast that live. And today we cannot have instant communication with the International Space Station. We have like a 14-second delay in communication with the International Space Station.
I don't think that was being broadcast live. Technically, it was live if you talk to people that were around back then, to them it was live. But
you're saying
it's no different than look at in the 80s though.
Bill,
when you had to watch the NBA championship the next day.
I know, I understand.
But you remember it like it was live.
That's part of the problem is that they absolutely said that they were broadcasting
Yeah,
it live
100%.
around the world.
But they were bullshitting because it was impossible. But,
So again, this is just like it start if they're bullshitting about that.
Well, but
what you're saying is that
are they bullshitting because
and then you see that thing blast off the moon back up, and you're like,
so what you're saying is that the filming from the moon was a much better feed than what Netflix had for the Mike Tyson.
like I said, I want to be really careful. I think we landed on the moon, and I think that you would have had to have so many smart people lie about it and waste their life.
That's the thing about conspiracy theories. It takes a lot of cooperation.
And again, one of the reasons I'm a Christian, like you couldn't get 8 people out of Watergate without each one of them squealing, but 12 dudes were able to get beheaded without saying that they were making it up.
Right. Yeah, it's it's funny to me how I think that they were probably, to them it was broadcasting live because of the delay. There was what they probably meant to say was unedited.
Yeah,
the length of time that it took.
Not the quagmire I'd like to get stuck in. Right. It is one of those things.
Sure,
kind of like 9/11. I just don't know that I know the whole story. And there's a curiosity there.
I like to go, wait a minute. There's an old quote from, I think it's a Bill Hicks quote, where he said the comedian is the guy that stops and says, "Hey, wait a minute," after the consensus forms. So when you look at I'm going to go off of the moon landing. If we were to go back to healthcare, right? Do you think that it's possible that on some level, the heads of these industries are thinking about it in the sense of population control? Like, people need to die. If people don't die, we run out of room.
No,
I think it's money. It's 100%.
Well, obviously, but I don't disagree with you guys at all. What I'm saying is that's a thought that enters my head. Like, we constantly talk about we've got to save lives. I mean, you think about all the times where you're saving, like, we obviously don't treat human beings like we do our pets.
Yeah.
When our pets are suffering, we put them down. We'll let a human being live for another 10 years with a shit quality of life.
Yeah, I like what Chris said there. It's about the money. So there's that old saying: don't first attribute to malice what can be attributed to ignorance. Don't think people are being mean when they might just be stupid. Don't think that people are out to get you when they might just be doing something in their own interest.
So the population control is a natural ripple effect of the greed.
That's the malice. You look at it and go, "Oh my God, they're trying to kill people." No. That's happening because of what they're really trying to do is make more money.
Could that be part of their rationalization?
I don't believe so, because I don't even think, Bill, that they're considering that end of it. Because if they were, they would look at the long-term play of their business and know they need those bodies.
Do you think anyone thinks in those terms, like at the higher points of like government?
And somebody, but Bill,
worldwide.
Somebody, but man, yes, I do think that there are people that are doing that, but it doesn't have an impact because there's not enough people. It's not that collective consciousness thing that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm. You've
got offshoots. Every now and again, you get an Albert Einstein who's able to get into the ear of a president. I'm a fan of Elon Musk. I think he is a very smart guy. I'm glad that we have a guy like people like that at least have some sort of influence and can say, "Hey, this might be a smart move for this big idea." Is Elon Musk a guy that is going to lead with his heart? Never.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Never. So, like that collective consciousness is never going to get there because you just aren't going to have.
I mean, we're talking about conspiracy theories. I just think that, I just wonder, if you believe in things like the Illuminati and shit like that, like, is there, that show, that new Mike Myers show that was on Netflix. Did you see that? It was like this fucking group of, it was almost like an Illuminati, making fun of the Illuminati like thing.
I didn't see it.
Oh my god, dude,
Good.
it's so fucking good. Yeah, you gotta go.
Dude, listen,
I gotta find
the
it.
Illuminati thing in this last year. I feel like Cat Williams.
Cat Williams is fucking
killing.
But seriously though, like, could there be, you know, I guess if there were a conspiracy theory that I were to believe, I am less convinced that things like the Illuminati don't exist.
The Illuminati does exist. Like those secret, those skull and bone societies at Yale that Bush and Kerry were all a part of. Those absolutely do exist. Now, what they're doing, and how much malice is behind what they're doing. I don't.
Well, not necessarily malice though. You don't have to. Controlling the population doesn't have to be a malicious thing. It can be a positive thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm saying in there, but that would be their perspective if that's what they're doing.
Exactly right. And that bill,
that's everybody's good to somebody. Everybody's somebody's hero.
Everybody's their own hero.
It's the perfect thing, like the movie The Joker.
Everybody's a hero in their own story. The three of us talked about that when we talked about our divorces.
Yeah.
Because you can't ask anybody about their divorce, and they're like, "Oh, I fucked up." It's always like, "Man, you ain't even gonna believe it, man." Usually, I wasn't even there that night.
You can find people that fucked up. They're usually in AA or something.
Chris, I like that the conspiracies.
Yeah, I have another one, but you know, on that note, have you ever seen the movie, or not the movie? You ever seen the television show Timeless that was on a few years ago?
No.
Well, was that the one where they could jump back to significant moments in history, and there was at the first couple episodes, you got the impression it was like a good team and a bad team.
Yes, because the bad team was supposedly part of this Rittenhouse group, similar, that was controlling America behind the scenes and was trying to manipulate history so that they could stay in power.
Super
and
fascinating.
It was a lot.
Really
it was a lot of what you're talking about. How this secret society was technically running everything in the government behind the scenes, and they were going back and trying to change history to.
Okay,
so you find out about episode 4 or 5. You that's when the line
maybe
starts
that
to
guy
blur.
is not a bad guy.
Maybe the guy that's that they're telling you is the bad guy.
Really
Maybe he's not a bad guy, and then it really gets good.
Well, like,
what do you think?
What do you think happens? Like, when you get elected president and you walk in the door that first day, that first debriefing, what do you think? I mean, do you think they just fucking lay it out like, all right, yes, there are aliens. This is where they are. Yes,
I think they've.
I'm using that as an example, but what I'm saying is, like, what do you think happens that very first debriefing? What do you think they find out that they didn't know before they got there?
I think they think there's no way we can tell this guy this or that. Like, I think they go individual by individual.
I think it's just very much discretion. They don't tell you day one. They don't tell you anything. Here's the way more fascinating question to me, because we all just take the premise of that question and don't question it at all. Most Americans, I think, would believe that early in the presidency, maybe even day one, week one, month one, the president is told information that we all believe the president should know. We all believe that happens. Here's the most fascinating part to me. Who's the one doing that interview?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly
That's
exactly why I'm asking that question.
I don't even care what the information is.
What are you finding out, and who has
how
it?
How does that person
decide?
And who told them?
Who they beholden to?
And where's
have
that
they
change?
seen it?
Yes.
Because because we just went through this whole entire charade for 4 years of voting for a president, and somebody else sat in a room waiting for that person to walk in and say, "Go, all right. So you want to know how shit gets done?"
That's my fucking.
It's crazy.
That's my conspiracy theory that I believe right there is like
that is
somebody
awesome.
else is the boss.
And Bill, when you say it, none of us question the premise. Like you say,
no.
What do you think they're being taught on day one? We all go, okay. What do you think that interview is about? Hold up, who?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it
who?
grows all these branches, and you're like,
yes.
wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, and is it a previous president? Like
Fascinating.
Like is it Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Which I could, again, they don't hate each other nearly as much. It's kind of like pro wrestling. They don't hate each other nearly as much as they want us to believe that they do.
No, they're on the same fucking team.
And so I don't know. I think it's that when you talk about conspiracy theories and secret societies and stuff, that's the shit that I think is really fascinating. Like everybody talks about them.
Yeah.
And
who the fuck are they?
And then somebody goes, all right, who are they? Well, it's a secret group of people. They're industry leaders, and they're.
That's one of my favorite Pulp Fiction lines. And Uma Thurman says to John Travolta, "Yeah, they talk a lot, don't they?"
It's and then, but Bill, every now and again, then you find out, like you get tapped into some subculture, and you find out these people that have this crazy amount of money.
That I probably hate, by the way.
And here's the deal: you don't know them.
Yeah,
you've never heard their name, and then you're like, "How did this dude become a bajillionaire?" And I wouldn't even know his name. And that's when it clicks.
Because he invented the toothpick.
No, that's when it clicks, and I go, you gotta know people to get that wealthy and not know people.
Yeah. All right, last topic.
Here we go.
Completely 180.
Like it.
Reddit stream, men of Reddit. They ask questions to men. What is the best or worst thing you've realized during a post-nut clarity?
Wait a second. Ross started laughing and I missed the laugh. A post-nut what?
Clarity.
Clarity?
Yeah.
What is
you just blew your nut. What's the best or worst thing that you've realized in that clarity? Every man knows what that is. That slight euphoria right after you're just laying there.
The best and worst moment.
What is the best or worst thing that you've realized at that moment?
Well, a couple of times I realized I didn't get it all the way out first. That was pretty bad. That lasted a while. Said the worst moment of clarity post nut was that I didn't get it out all the way before I nutted. Meaning,
you didn't get your pullout game was
my pullout game
not the way I interpreted what you said. Not
me either. I was I thought he pulled out and he wasn't quite finished yet. That's what I thought.
There was another one.
I couldn't get it out. That one took a long time, and I was like, "What the? Am I doing it wrong?"
There's another one where I jumped on a grenade one night. And
wait, do you mean a fat girl? Is that what you're trying to say? You fucked a fat girl and you're calling it you jumped on a grenade?
Yeah.
Have some respect. She had a name.
I don't remember her name.
Oh, unbelievable.
Let's call her Jenny. I think her name was Jenny. But the post nut clarity that I had was she doesn't have the power to headline me.
Jesus.
I thought next time I went to that pub, I'd going into it, but then I realized,
oh God,
right afterwards that she wasn't gonna be able
to
do that.
Oh my God!
I'm trying to find a good one, a positive one.
I don't, man. I'm not coming up.
I'd say one of the best. Okay, I got it. One of the best post nut clarities.
Amazing that you've got like multiple. I love it.
One of the best that I had.
Ready at the fire, dude.
It happens every once in a great while.
This man's not sure how many syllables are an owl, but you want some post nut clarity stories? Bing, bang, boom, coming at you.
Well, it's hard to think of a positive one because I just keep thinking of like times where you're like, oh fuck. But one is there's been several times throughout life where I was like, oh, I'll be able to get it up again here pretty soon. Like that's a positive. Like post-nut clarity, like because most of the time you can't do it again, you know.
Yeah, that I don't think that's the.
But every once in a while, you're like,
kind of a
dude,
realization.
this is happening again today. This is good. This is good. So I'd say, but I mean, I can't think of. Did you have either one of your kids on purpose?
I mean, we were trying with Eli we didn't think we were going to have kids at all.
You may have had trying, meaning so like when you were actually trying, you probably were like, okay, I got that in. That was probably positive. Like, oh, it's all in there. So,
I just don't.
Come on, Aaron, get them knees up behind your ears for a while.
And then the second, Audrey, was a complete surprise. We didn't think we were ever going to have one baby. Had one, thought, well, that was a good deal. Glad we got one baby out of the way. Glad we had a boy because I can play catch and play baseball and do all that stuff.
Yeah. So you've never had like a, I don't know.
Man, I don't. The post-nut clarity, I know exactly what it's referring to. I just remembering them is hard. There's none that are in my brain right now. Like, oh, I remember this one time.
Oh, I've got.
This is incredible.
This
is incredible.
There was one where
he's got 4.
That's crazy.
What
I love him.
Dude,
I'm
fire away, my friend. Fire away.
I knew this one was going to be gold.
So, okay, there was another time where I jumped on a grenade for a buddy.
He had sex with another fat girl.
Well, you keep saying fat girl. I'm not saying like fat. Just like,
was she ugly?
Just not. You know, it's not. Let's just call it somebody you wouldn't brag about.
He took one for the team.
So was she fat or ugly? This one was ugly. First one he said
was
fat.
Probably a combination.
What was her name?
I don't remember. I just remember the post-nut clarity was she kind of looks like a janitor. Like her, like she was bigger, you know,
like keys on her hip, or what do you mean?
No, she had no curves. Like she was bigger, but no curves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, she just had one shape. I know.
Yeah.
What you mean?
It was like,
I know what you mean.
It was like just a mound with a couple nipples on it.
This is also why we asked this question at the end of the pod. The percentage of people listening or may not be here.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm a really good fucking friend. Like, the best. And
the post-nut clarity that day was just.
I'm a really good.
What a good friend I am.
I'm an amazing friend.
Jumping on grenades, left and right.
Well, also positive
for fat grenades.
Positive for both of those. Yeah. But see, both of those chicks never got laid, so like it was good for them too. It was fucking positive energy all the way around. Like nobody left pissed off.
That was your version of handing dollars out the window back then.
In a way, but
how was that girl's Sharpie game?
Anyone.
How was that girl's Sharpie game? Best answer on Reddit: the tattoo on her back. Realizing that the tattoo on her back probably was actually finished and a swastika, not the start of a maze or something else.
Oh my God.
That's where you put it in her butthole, right there. As soon as you see the swastika, all right, you're getting it. Fucking yeah.
We have a few minutes here for a weird story.
Let's wrap it up with your last.
Doesn't have anything to do.
I'm calling.
Yeah, actually, I have a job in the morning, so this is the last story.
I got shit to do. This by 15 years ago or more, when MMA is really starting to blow up, and we had an MMA fight up at Hilton Coliseum. And Pat Miletich was doing the play-by-play. He was going to be the color guy, and me and Clutch, Clutch, Jeff, Me and Clutch were going to be we were the play-by-play guys, and then Pat Miletich was like our Joe Rogan
color guy
type guy, right? And like the third fight, this dude gets in the ring, gets taken down right by our table, and he's got a swastika. I mean, a giant swastika tattoo on his shoulder. And the camera is like zoomed in on it. And I said something. I'm like, oh, look, it's like they zoomed in on his tap. And Miletich is like, no, don't mention the tattoo. I'm like, it's on
it's
TV.
right there. Yeah. So you said "were" as in that it did the broadcast end right there or something?
No, it didn't end right there, but it got real. It got real weird for sure.
Was Miletich going, dude, you can't tell people I'm into this stuff?
No, I think it was. I think the problem with it was that dude maybe had fought at his gym or something like that, and he didn't want that association.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, for somebody to go, oh yeah, the dude that. But again, a coach,
maybe don't associate with the guy with
Bill, a coach doesn't know. A dude walks in a gym wearing a t-shirt and shorts and says, hey, I want to be part of the gym. You're like, yeah, man.
So he's never seen him with his shirt off before the fight?
You're misunderstanding
I know.
He had fought for the Miletich gym. Pat did not want that association.
No, I get it. Yeah,
so it wasn't that he still fought for him.
Right.
He didn't want people. So I think that was the thing of just ignoring.
You want the connection to get made.
Ignore it.
Yeah, no, you can't ignore that. That's interesting, though. So,
all right, guys, time to wrap it up.
All right,
Billy.
All right, Chris. Thanks so much.
One more thing.
Oh, jeez.
While we're on swastikas.
Oh.
I just had.
End the show.
Have you ever been to Hoyt Sherman? Have you seen the swastikas on the floor?
What?
Hoyt Sherman has swastikas all over the fucking place.
What?
Yeah. But here's the thing about them. Apparently, swastikas mean different things if they're flipped in the other direction.
Oh, really? Okay.
So all the swastikas that are in Hoyt Sherman are apparently the good ones. There's apparently good and bad swastikas.
So when you see him, Chris, just point them out to people. Go, hey, don't worry, guys.
That's one of the good ones. So
right?
your guy, maybe if Miletich would have known better, he'd be like, "No, it's the good guy.
It's a good guy. It's an Irish thing." Hey, thanks so much. I love helping you guys out. Being
love
part
you.
of this. So
Glad
thanks
you
so
came.
much. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bill, you can
See you
end the
next
show. It's your
Tuesday.
show.
I'm ending it right now.
Are we going Tuesday? It's Christmas Eve.
Oh shit! It is Christmas Eve.
Yeah, you don't.
So I guess we'll be back. Well, then the next week's New Year's Eve.
Oh,
so.
We can go Monday.
No, I'll be at the bowl game.
Oh, unbelievable.
The 30th, I'll be at the bowl game.
Hey, true story.
So we'll go.
I don't know who the Hawkeyes.
The first Tuesday after New Year's Day.
I don't know who the Hawkeyes.
They're playing Missouri.
Or where?
In Nashville. No, I'm going.
Missouri going to actually show up this time? They
well, no, a buddy of mine.
They pushed out the last time.
Yeah.
The only reason that I'm going is you're right, yeah, because that was the COVID year. I forgot about that. No, the only reason I'm going is a buddy of mine I grew up with. His name's Eric Link. He coaches special teams for Missouri.
Oh, you told me this.
Yeah, and I planned on. I've over the past few years I've been meaning to go to a Missouri game during an Iowa off week so I could see him and whatever. So since they're playing Missouri, that's why I'm going.
Nice. Okay.
Then I can knock that out.
That'll be fun. Enjoy it.
All right, y'all.
All right.
See ya. We'll come back. We'll do the Tuesday after New Year's, whatever that is.
You let me
Figure out
know
the date.
anytime you want me to come hang out. I would love it.
Yeah, always. All right.
That was fun.
I didn't know he's coming back.
Oh, you know what? I hit the wrong outro. Hold on.